Contractual tensions between Banyana Banyana and SAFA have been resolved through intervention from the Motsepe Foundation and the Sports Ministry. Our sports reporter Vuyo Macoba is following the story for us, and he joins us live from that briefing which has just concluded. And Vuyo, we heard from the co-founder of the Motsepe Foundation, Dr. Precious Moloi Motsepe, saying that it is important to get the team in the right kind of state psychologically so that they perform quite well.
Good afternoon to you, to Dizile, and of course, good afternoon to the Newzroom Afrika viewers. And that's the case, and I think that's the reason why Dr. Precious Moloi Motsepe came through today at this press conference, or responded to the call that came from the South African Football Association and the Ministry of Sports in Minister Zizi Kodwa. When she received the call, there was one of the things that she mentioned clicked from her side to say, at this point of the preparations for Banyana Banyana, the ladies need to be in a sound state, in a healthy state, especially mentally when they go to a tournament like this. The team, as we know, of course, is leaving this afternoon. This is the one group of the team, and the second one is leaving tomorrow. And this press conference from today is, of course, a reflection of what's been happening over the weekend when the ladies didn't play, which are the World Cup team that was supposed to play against Botswana in what was a send-off match in Tsakane Stadium. So that was the biggest thing from her. So that was the biggest thing from her to say, we are coming in as the foundation to falter whatever has been the issue around the players and of course the association, but to make sure that at the end of the day, by the time the ladies leave this afternoon with the flight expected to be around 5 p.m., that they are in a sound sound mode, in healthy mode, mentally as well, because that's what they need when they're going into a tournament like this. But a lot happened today, and I've got my colleague Mark Stradom from the industry. We'll just have a quick check in terms of just breaking down what would have happened today at the press conference. Mark, appreciate your time on Newzroom Afrika. Maybe for starters, starting with that question, Motsepe Foundation always been coming through for football in South Africa. In this case, they came in and responded to the call from South African Football Association and the ministry as well. And the biggest thing coming out of Dr. Moloi Motsepe is that she's trying to make sure that the ladies go into the tournament in a sound position mentally as well, because that's what you need when you're going to a tournament like this.
Yeah, absolutely, Vuyo. I think, like you say, the Motsepe Foundation, not for the first time, coming to the rescue. I think we can say that safely, of South African football when it was in need. I think the country will be relieved. The team will be relieved as a starting point. And I think as a starting point, it's now to support Banyana Banyana as the African champions. I think the continent will be relieved at some level. Because these are the African champions, and they're representing not just South Africa, but the continent. It raises a few question marks in terms of why SAFA does not have the funds to do this itself. That is a certain definite question. The process of getting here, the president himself admitting they left things late with the contracts, which is... but then when asked about introspection or internal investigation, said, why do we need an investigation? So that's a contradiction, because he's admitted to a mistake, but then says there's no need for an investigation. But certainly there's a lot of questions. It got way out of proportion for what it should have been, I think, by the way it was handled. And if there's no real admission of that from the association, it's worrying. But certainly the country and the team are relieved, and the team are on their way tomorrow and the next day, and we wish them the best.
Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate your time.
It's always a pleasure.
Sports journalist Mark Stradom, just reflecting on what happened inside there. I mean, a lot of contradictory things coming out, especially from the South African Football Association, leaving it late to have these discussions with Banyana Banyana teams in terms of contracts. And as we all know, this starting from of course, FIFA making the pronouncement that there's going to be money that's going to be given to each and every player that's going to be participating at the World Cup. How is that going to be divided into the players? And the players as well, of course, asking from the association in itself to say, if we, the association that are representing you, there should be something that's coming from you, because that will be the case if a Bafana team is going to a tournament like this. So it seems like that the agreement, or they've come close to an agreement. We heard from SAFTU President Thulaganyo Gaoshubeli to say that they're still going to meet with the South African Football Association now to say whatever was put into that contract or whatever they agreed to is now going to be signed off. But in terms of the financials, it seems like that they've come to an agreement. And of course, at the end of the press conference, there's something that I must mention is that Ithuba came through to say that they also are going to be putting money towards Banyana Banyana into this. They're putting an amount of about 2 million rand. So as it stands at this point, with the 570,000 equivalent of the $30,000 that's coming from FIFA, then there's the amount that's going to be coming in terms of what the foundation, the Motsepe Foundation, has put forward or is pledging, and it's going to be divided between the players. And now, of course, Ithuba as well coming in and pledging a further 2 million rand. So as it stands, financially, it seems like they've come to an agreement, and as it stands, financially, the team looks to have gotten to a point where they've heard their grievances have been heard, and are going to be traveling today that knowing that their grievances are heard. And that's what you need when you're going to a tournament like this. And back to you in studio.
Vuyo Macoba, thank you very much for that update.